All right, hello and welcome. Today I'd like to invite you to a little bit of an art lesson, a little bit of something different, and we're going to have an aesthetic experience today. So first of all, what is an aesthetic experience? I want to talk about that for just a moment. So to begin with, here's my word definition. Aesthetic is A-E-S-T-H-E-T-I-C. I had to look it up. It's okay. Next one here. I can tell you more about it than I can spell. So to begin, it is concerned with beauty or the appreciation of beauty. So that's what we're going to talk about today, the appreciation of beauty. And we're going to have an aesthetic experience where you appreciate beauty. So to begin with, if you're still confused about the word aesthetic and what that means, it's okay. I got a story for you that I want to share with you all. So I was in college and I was taking a graduate level class. So that means that I was already had my teaching degree. I was out of school and I was going back and I was taking more classes. And so this entire class that I was with was all other art teachers. So we were supposed to know what we were doing. And my teacher, the professor, our assignment was to bring in an aesthetic experience for everybody in class. And we were going to experience it together. And I got really lucky because I was not picked first. There were like several students per week, and I was not the first week of students to go. So my thought was, I'll just wait and see what the other students bring in, and maybe I'll understand what we're supposed to be doing. So how many of you have ever had that experience where your teacher asks you to do something and you have no idea? It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And by the way, I should have asked my teacher. I want to encourage you all, ask your teachers things. It's okay to ask. I should have asked. I didn't because I was embarrassed because I felt like I should have known what was going on. But anyway, so for this aesthetic experience, the first week, whenever people brought in their projects, I didn't know what, after I did them, after the other people presented their lessons, I was kind of like, I don't know what this is. What are we doing? And the assignment was to do something concerned with beauty or the appreciation of beauty. I didn't know. All right, so anyway, then it came to be my turn. So I brought in my project. I brought this simple thing to do, and it wasn't exactly this. This is a simplified version of the same thing. But my aesthetic experience for the entire class, I thought, well, I guess it's my turn. We'll give it a try. And after I got done, my professor says, this is it. This is what I wanted. This is an aesthetic experience. So apparently all of the other people that had presented before me didn't exactly get it either. So I was kind of like, yay for Mrs. Rao. All right, so what is an aesthetic experience? So first of all, what you should know, I'm going to use a different terminology for this. Anytime that you say something is satisfying, you're saying it's an aesthetic experience. It's the same thing. It's pretty much the exact same thing. So anytime I hear my students say that in class, or anytime I hear my own daughters say this, I kind of have to like, it's an aesthetic experience. Now, there are different kinds. I want to make sure that you understand what we're talking about today is a visual aesthetic experience. So there's also like auditory, which would be the ASMR, like the sounds that you find kind of satisfying. This is something different. I want you to focus in on just the visual. So to begin with today, let's start off with, I want to make sure we get started with our aesthetic experience. So to begin with, I'm going to need a container. So here's my container. This is awful. This is not going to be very good for my aesthetic experience. You need to start off with something that has some beauty. This is not going to do a whole lot. Maybe, could you? Yeah, okay. So let's get rid of that. Next one. Here's another one. This is getting better. So for this one, it's a little glass dish for ice cream. Could I use this? Yes. So if you've got something like this at home, or a cup or a glass at home, perfect. I've got bigger and better. So I've got a vase here with water in it. I'm going to put a white paper behind it just so you can see better, because the black table you can't see very well. And I'm going to dry it off so it's a little, so you can enjoy your aesthetic experience more. Let me kind of get it cleaned up, just all nice and pretty. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I've got food dye. And for this, if you're going to do this at home, if you want to have set up your own aesthetic experience, you could do this with food dye, you can do this with watercolor paints, regular paints, anything. Just, it's okay. So let's go ahead with, I'm going to start our aesthetic experience. First of all, I'm going to kind of get out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so that was our aesthetic experience. And what you're viewing right now, what you're seeing, is just something very simple that you're finding some beauty in. Now, so how does this relate to art? Is all art beautiful? Do you find beauty in all art? No, that is not the purpose of all art. But the finding beauty in something simple like this is a start to being able to see and reflect and think about art, and sometimes it is beautiful. So finding the beauty in things around you is part of an aesthetic experience. So if you were going, and sometimes that happens to be art. Sometimes it happens other places. Such as if you were going to go out and to a pond, if you were to throw a rock and then watch the ripples as it goes away, that is an aesthetic experience. If you were going to go out and, let's go out to the pond again, and we have a bunch of flat rocks and you stack, I've seen like rock towers as they're stacked up on top of each other. The simple beauty of creating, the simple moment of creating that and enjoying the balance that has to have, that's all an aesthetic experience. I've even heard students say satisfying. Think of any time that you say satisfying. If you were going to cut a piece of, let's say, pie, or like a piece of Jell-O or something, and it's just got a beauty in the simplicity of the lines and how it's cut, that's all an aesthetic experience. Now, is that all art? No, I don't want you to confuse the two. I would not call this art, but I would call it like the simple capturing of beauty in that moment, and being in that moment and seeing that beauty, recognizing that beauty, is getting you closer to being able to see art and enjoy it in a different way. All right. So what I'd like you guys to do is you can have your own aesthetic experience. This is an easy one to do with a cup of water and any sort of thing that's going to color your water, or go out and throw a rock, or do a really, really nice cut in your Jell-O or your cheesecake or anything like that. Try to see if you can come up with something that's visually satisfying. That's going to be your aesthetic experience. And then after you do that, or if you come up with one You can comment in Google Classroom. I'd love to hear what you guys came up with, and if you can think of any more examples. I hope you liked our video and enjoy, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.